A young couple, Ryota and Midori, receive shocking news. Due to a mix-up at the hospital 6 years ago, their son Keita is not their biological child. Ryota is a hard-working executive whose life revolves around his career, leaving little time for his family. The responsibility of raising their son has always fallen on Midori, a dedicated stay-at-home mother. Ryota is highly competitive and sees success as the ultimate goal in life. However, Keita is nothing like him. He is quiet, gentle, and uninterested in competition. Deep down, Ryota has always struggled with this. When he learns the truth, his immediate reaction is cold and detached. "That explains it," he blurts out, unknowingly wounding Midori. His words carry a painful implication that Keita's personality makes sense now because he isn't Ryota's real son. Midori is deeply hurt. To her, love and care define parenthood, not blood. But Ryota's reaction makes her question whether he ever truly saw Keita as his son. When Midori gave birth, she had chosen to go to a small rural hospital near her childhood home. She wanted the comfort of being close to her parents, knowing that Ryota, always busy with work, would be of little help during the delivery. But now, this decision is being turned against her. Ryota blames Midori, saying, "If you had given birth in a better hospital in the city, this mistake wouldn't have happened." He even implies that as a mother, she should have instinctively known that the baby wasn't hers. "How could you not recognize your own child?" These words cut Midori deeply. She had only wanted to do what was best for their son, yet now she is being held responsible for the hospital's mistake. With this unexpected truth unraveling before them, Ryota and Midori's relationship begins to fracture further. A painful decision now looms before them. Should they keep Keita, the child they have raised and loved for 6 years? Or should they return him to his biological parents? The hospital and their legal team arrange for genetic testing to confirm parentage. The devastating mix-up is uncovered when another child, undergoing routine testing before starting school, is found to have no biological connection to his parents. This discovery leads to a broader investigation, ultimately revealing that Keita and another boy, Ryusei, were switched at birth. The two families are brought together for the first time. Unlike Ryota and Midori, who lead a comfortable upper-middle-class life, the other couple, Yudai and Yukari, run a small repair shop where they also live with their 3 children. Their lives are filled with the struggles of maintaining a business and raising a family on modest means. Yukari also works part-time in a food shop to help make ends meet. For Midori, the situation is particularly painful. She had complications during Keita's birth and can no longer have children. This makes her bond with Keita even more profound, as she knows she will never have another chance to be a mother. Yudai, in contrast, appears pragmatic, even opportunistic about the situation. He quickly expresses interest in a potential financial settlement from the hospital. His attitude contrasts sharply with Midori and Yukari's deep emotional turmoil. While Yudai sees the possibility of financial relief, Midori sees only the heartbreak of potentially losing the child she has raised for 6 years. When the families meet, the stark differences between the two boys are immediately apparent. Keita, raised in a structured and disciplined environment, is smaller, more reserved, and introverted. Ryusei, who grew up in a bustling household full of laughter and noise, is confident, outgoing, and physically larger. The hospital lawyers and child welfare advisors suggest what they believe is the most logical solution. The boys should be returned to their biological families. To them, the mistake must be corrected, and blood ties should take precedence over emotional bonds. Ryota, being the most dominant and decisive voice in the group, quickly leans toward agreeing with this recommendation, seeing it as the right course of action. However, the two mothers, Midori and Yukari, are filled with doubt. Their maternal instincts resist the idea of an abrupt exchange, and as they spend more time together, they form an unspoken alliance. They know that Ryota, with his strong-willed nature, will push for what he believes is best, regardless of how painful it may be for those involved. They lean on each other, quietly navigating the storm of emotions that neither their husbands nor the hospital advisors seem to fully grasp. Midori's mother, who has always been a source of support, also struggles with the idea of the exchange. She knows firsthand how deeply her daughter loves Keita. The thought of separating them feels unnatural, as if tearing apart something that was never truly broken. As the decision looms, emotions run high, and the families find themselves caught between logic, duty, and the unshakable bonds of love that have formed over 6 years. Ryota's perspective on family is shaped by his own difficult relationship with his father, a stern and traditional man who believes that bloodline is everything, whether in families or even in breeding racehorses, as he often reminds Ryota. When Ryota confides in him about the hospital's mistake, his father is adamant. "You must get your real son back. Nothing else matters." Ryota's childhood was complicated. His parents had separated when he was young, and despite longing to stay with his mother, the court awarded custody to his father. At one point, Ryota even attempted to run away to reunite with his mother, but his father forcefully brought him back. Strangely, the warmth he craved as a child did not come from his biological parents, but from his stepmother, who raised him and his brother with genuine care and affection. Though he rarely speaks of it, this past lingers in his subconscious, influencing his current struggle with Keita. As legal proceedings unfold, a shocking revelation comes to light. The hospital nurse responsible for the mix-up confesses in court. In an emotional testimony, she admits to swapping the babies in a misguided reaction to her own experiences. Having raised her husband's children from a previous marriage, she harbored unresolved emotions about non-biological parenthood. This irrational moment of personal turmoil led her to make a choice that changed 2 families' lives forever. The revelation enrages the 3 other parents. Yudai, Yukari, and Midori are furious, their emotions boiling over as they demand answers, justice, and accountability. But Ryota's reaction is different. Instead of fixating on the past, he remains laser-focused on one thing: getting his biological son back. As the reality of the situation settles in, Ryota notices Midori's growing resistance to the idea of giving up Keita. To him, this is an obstacle that needs to be overcome. He devises a scheme. He will offer the poorer family financial compensation in exchange for keeping both boys, ensuring that he and Midori can raise them together. In his mind, this is a logical, practical solution. But when he presents this proposal to Yudai and Yukari, they are deeply offended and insulted. To them, the idea of selling their child, no matter how much money is offered, is unthinkable. With the plan rejected, the process of exchanging the boys moves forward. To ease the transition, the families begin swapping the boys on weekends over a span of several months. Ryota approaches this like a mission, something that must be completed systematically, with discipline and control. But it soon becomes apparent just how vastly different the 2 families truly are. In Ryota's household, life is structured and rigid. Keita has been raised with clear rules, quiet discipline, and a focus on achievement. In contrast, Ryusei comes from a world filled with noise, playfulness, and a sense of freedom that Ryota struggles to understand. The contrast in parenting styles is stark, highlighting not just the difference in their economic situations, but in the very way they perceive love and family. As the weekend swaps continue, tension rises. The question lingers: can parenthood really be determined by blood alone? After the exchange, Ryusei struggles to adjust to his new life. Without his younger siblings and the lively, chaotic atmosphere of his previous home, he feels out of place. His new father, Ryota, is distant and absorbed in his work, providing none of the warmth or attention that Ryusei was used to. Though Midori makes efforts to ease his transition, the emotional gap remains. Over time, Ryusei's loneliness deepens. Eventually, unable to bear the isolation, he runs away, making his way back to the only place that has ever felt like home, Yudai and Yukari's repair shop. When Ryota learns of this, he immediately goes to retrieve him. During the tense exchange, Yukari, half-jokingly but with a hint of bitterness, remarks, "Maybe Yudai and I should just keep both boys." Her words hit Ryota harder than she intends. Until now, he had seen this situation as something to be solved. a problem requiring discipline and strategy. But this moment forces him to reconsider. Was this really about doing what was best for the children, or had he been too consumed with what he thought was right? As these doubts creep in, Ryota's boss at work unexpectedly offers him a position that would allow him more time with his family, a job with fewer demands, something he would have never considered before. For the first time, Ryota hesitates. His ambition has always driven him, but now he wonders if it has cost him something more valuable. Back home, Ryota and Midori make an effort to engage with Ryusei, taking him on outings, playing with him, and trying to make him feel welcome. But no matter what they do, he remains distant. One evening, Ryusei looks up at Ryota and says simply, "I want to go home." Realizing they cannot force happiness upon him, Ryota and Midori take Ryusei back to the repair shop. As they arrive, Ryusei steps out of the car and, without hesitation, announces, "I'm home." Yudai and Yukari are visibly moved. Just then, Keita runs out the back of the shop. But instead of running toward his biological parents, he keeps going, away from everyone. Ryota instinctively chases after him. When he finally catches up, Ryota sees his son standing there silent, his small body trembling. For the first time, Ryota truly sees him, not as a child he needed to shape or correct, but as his son, just as he is. Taking a deep breath, Ryota finally confesses, "I haven't been a very good father. I pushed too hard. I made too many mistakes." His voice wavers, but he continues, "I thought I knew what was best, but I was wrong. The mission is over," he says softly. And then, for the first time in 6 years, he doesn't just expect Keita to come to him, he reaches out and embraces him first. In that moment, it doesn't matter how they became father and son. All that matters is that they are.